Good afternoon, Mrs. Shipton. I'm Mr. Reid. I'm Lachlan's sports teacher. I would just like to start by saying what a well-mannered and wonderful student that Lachlan is. He really is a pleasure to have in the class. During this term, we have been playing soccer. At the beginning of the term, we were focusing on the fundamental skills to play the game soccer. We do this with every sport as we try and get the students... We don't like to get the students straight into a game, like gameplay, before learning the fundamentals, as it can ultimately just be a bit of a mess. Like, we haven't taught them the skills of the game properly, the correct passes to do. We haven't even taught them the rules of the game. So we'd like to start off at the beginning of each unit, just doing the fundamental skills at the beginning, especially because these Year 9s haven't actually played soccer yet. This is the first time they've done it at the school anyways. So yeah, we find it really important to do the fundamentals. But now, however, is obviously the end of the term, we have started getting the students into small-sided games and introducing the fundamental skills that we have learnt into real gameplay. Lachlan is naturally gifted when it comes to physical activity and tends to pick up new skills and sports easily, especially invasion games, and I'm guessing this is because he plays AFL outside of school. Invasion games tend to have similar movement patterns, so I find if a student plays AFL outside of school, invasion games such as netball and soccer, they find it easier to pick up things, movement patterns and how to read the game easier compared to students who don't play invasion games outside of school. Okay, so moving on to grades. Lachlan is currently sitting on a very respectable 80%. So they have been assessed on fundamental skills, where he scored 90%. Lachlan was very impressive when performing the basic skills of soccer. An area he could improve on, though, is his first touch when receiving the ball. But other than that, he was very good. They were also assessed on gameplay, where he scored an 80%. As I said before, he was able to transfer his knowledge of movement and passing into space across from AFL, where he has been able to combine this with his newly learned soccer skills and has showed very impressive gameplay. And finally, the last area which we have been assessing on is the rules of the game, where Lachlan has scored a 60%. As shown by his drop in score in this area, this is where Lachlan definitely needs to improve on and find some time at home to study on the rules of soccer, especially the offside rule in soccer, which Lachlan doesn't have a great understanding of how this works or wash his class as a foul. So I would suggest him study at home will improve this and see an engraving to his grade, not only overall but in the rules section of the grading. Overall, Lachlan's behaviour has been excellent this year. He's a really nice, mature, kind and really engaged when we are having our sport lessons. The only thing I would comment on negatively towards his behaviour is he can get distracted when with a group of friends and a bit over hyper. But I wouldn't say there's any major concerns here, because this is pretty normal, especially in boys in Year 9. Lachlan does need to work on his organisation skills though, as there have been multiple times this term where he has forgotten his sports uniform and ultimately not been able to participate in these lessons. I would suggest that Lachlan uses his school diary to help him remind himself to bring his uniform, or even put reminders on his phone or his school laptop on the days that we have sport, to ensure that he doesn't forget his uniform. Personally, as a teacher, putting reminders on my phone and my work laptop helps me remind stuff, as if I have a soccer lesson and I want to bring in some content to show the kids, like a YouTube clip, I'll set a reminder the day before to get the link so I can get it up quickly for the students when I'm teaching in class. So that wraps up the interview today. It was lovely to meet you. Have a good night.